Let me start off with asking one question split into two parts. How many of y'all think yoga is cool? Oh, so many of y'all think yoga is cool. Okay. How many of y'all think yoga is only Surya Namaskar, meditation, wearing orange clothes, or a kurta like mine? Okay. So the problem is spirituality and yoga is so misunderstood that they think it's about wearing robes, orange robes. It's about just Surya Namaskar and meditation, but it's not that. Yoga is a lifestyle by itself. How many of y'all agree? Fantastic. So, I'm going to be telling my story how I think I'm trying to erase the box. So, as a kid, my only purpose in life was to get into trouble. So, my father ran a few successful businesses, and I grew up thinking I didn't have a choice but to take it up, sit on his chair, and run the businesses. But deep down, there was something missing. Because in the end, everything we do in life is for our quest for happiness, isn't it? So, what was a changing moment in my life? As a kid, once when I was watching a Ranjikanth movie, and if any of y'all here haven't seen a Ranjikanth movie in Tamil Nadu first day, first show, you really need to start questioning your life decisions. Trust me on that. The emotion and the happiness around it on the first day of first show, right? It is an explosion by itself. It was phenomenal. So that moment made me want to enthrall and inspire people. And I thought cricket was the answer. So as a kid, I gave up everything. I used to eat, sleep, study, everything cricket. I played a decent amount of cricket. I traveled with the IPL for 3 years. I didn't sign for a team. I traveled with 2 IPL teams for 3 years. I stayed with them. I practiced with them. I bowled for them and all that. It was a phenomenal experience. But there was still something missing. That's when I discovered the catalyst was yoga. Very funny story how I got into yoga. My father called up a yoga teacher home. He paid for the class, and he couldn't continue the class. So my dad said, Sarvesh, why don't you take it up and continue? I said, okay. And in 1 month, I got so hooked onto it that I started coming up with questions about consciousness, enlightenment, seventh sense, third eye, and all that. So I asked the yoga teacher, who then went on to become my Guruji, saying, what is enlightenment? Can you enlighten me? So generally, from a man wearing orange robes, long hair, long beard, you would think he would say, I'll bless you, my child. I'll show you a halo of light around your head and all that. But to my surprise, he said, if you ever think I can enlighten you, you are a fool and I'm a bigger fool. So that kind of hit me so hard that when you're writing an exam and you ask your friend a question and he doesn't turn back. So you don't know what to do, right? So that was the moment that changed my life. And I went and told my dad, I'm going to continue yoga. He said, please do. Then at 17 and a half, I used to do a lot of sadhanas, 10-day, 11-day, 21-day, 40-day sadhanas that Guruji used to tell me, meditate for so long, meditate with a candle, with a mirror and all that stuff. And I kept doing all of that. One day he said, Sarvesh, you need to do 5 precepts. I said, okay. He said, no lying. There you go, no lying, no alcohol, no smoking, no mental and physical stealing. Physical stealing is obvious. Mental stealing is I can't even think that I should have what the other person has, and celibacy. And I said, Guruji, it's very easy for 40 days, right? No, he said 7 years. I said, 7 years? I mean, I'm definitely not doing all that. He said, no, you have to. So I thought, okay, some ran marathon, some took up Ironman challenges, and I said, this is a challenge I'm going to take up for my mental endurance. Then at 19, I did a slightly more difficult thing, but I think that was the best 10 and 40 days of my life. So I did something called the Supreme Silence, where no music, no TV, no friends, no phones, absolutely no social activities at all. I couldn't even speak to anybody. I couldn't even look eye to eye with anybody. I should look 4 feet down always. And that was the best 40 days of my life. That happened when I was at 19. And at 21, I realized that after 4 years of practicing whatever I was practicing, the least I could do was spread the message. So I had a deep conversation with my Guruji. Even before I knew, I had Zorba in my head. And I said, Guruji, we're going to start Zorba. So Zorba means a person who lives life fully each day. We wanted to spread happiness. We wanted to make a difference. But the first year was very funny because I thought it was all going to end. Because my Guruji said he's going to go for a Himalayan sadhana and come back in 6 months. It's been 2 years and he's not yet back. So then I said, okay. And I had a problem with my staffing, I had a problem with my scheduling, I had a problem with my space. But the biggest problem I realized was, it was me, my ego. I wanted to become a CEO even before it all began. So I said, it's time to get my hands dirty. I'm going to be taking classes. So I started taking classes from 6:30 to 7:45 in the morning. I used to go park somebody's car outside, come back, register somebody, go clean the studio for the next class, and that's how it all began. Then we had one studio then, we had about 100 clients. And the best part was yoga was always a part of our culture. But we wanted to present yoga as something fun, something entertaining, and not serious. It should be followed as a discipline, but also a lifestyle. So the next challenge was, how do I get this 6-year-old or a 15-year-old or a 21-year-old to get into yoga? So what we did is we packaged 23 different forms of yoga for people. We started off with something called the paddleboard yoga, yoga on a surfboard in the mid-sea to gain balance. Everybody sitting here can do it, believe me. Then we started something called the aerial yoga to improve your core. Then we started something called the insight yoga. From onto your right, the last one, you close your eyes and you start focusing more on the inside. Like this, we formed various forms of yoga. We even did basketball yoga and helped breathing with basketball. What did this result in? This resulted in 6-year-olds to 21-year-olds coming. And the best part was, from 100 people, we went to 5,000 people in absolutely no time. And from one studio, we went to 20 studios. We became India's largest, and we're starting 100 studios more. So that was what happened when we started 23 different forms of yoga. Now, we had people from 6-year-old, and the man in that photo is 91. He has 37 odd surgeries or something done on his body, fractures, 37 or 70 fractures. Everybody started doing yoga. People who didn't want to do yoga started doing yoga. Now, these are some of our studios, how they look. It's funny, yeah. If you go around, and sometimes you might find somebody hanging around from the top of a building. He would not be a Spider-Man, he would definitely be a Zorbian. Then what happened was, we are soon starting something called the stiletto yoga. Men and women both are welcome. And we are also starting something called yoga, which means yoga with your dog. So this helped us bring the physical activity of yoga. Yoga by itself means unification of mind, body, and soul. This helped us present the physical activity to however people wanted them to be, and this packaged happiness for them. So people who are 15-year-olds who didn't like yoga because I said it was with a dog, they used to come, oh, fantastic. So that's how we started getting the millennials, that is the 6 to 21-year-olds come into yoga. So now what's next, you might wonder. My life was crazy, as you've heard about it. Zorba helped me channel this craziness and present yoga into something unconventional, and I believe it has helped me made the people and the world think of yoga in a separate and a completely whole new different way. So I would end my speech by saying, Zorba taught me one thing: love like there is no tomorrow, and if tomorrow comes, love again. Thank you very much. And my 7 years is getting over in 6 months, so it's time to party.